Hi, my name is Michael Williams, and in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you everything you need to know about the subtabs in the Flights tab of Poco 5. The subtabs here are the Flight tab, the Ground Transportation tab, and the Rates tab. And I'm going to walk you through each one of these so you understand what each one of these does. The Flight tab contains both the flight information as well as the return flight information for any particular flight reservation that you make in the Flights tab. The basic information for the flight here is at the top, and then the general flight details are on the second line: the airline, the flight number, the departure time, arrival time, and class. And then there's two additional lines for connecting flights if you need them. So on the first line, you can use the handy little pop-up calendar here, and just click on the icon. It'll bring up a calendar so you can choose what date you'd like the flight to be on. The next field, you can select the departure airport, whether that's the city or airport name. And the next one is a destination, whether that's the city or airport name as well. And then this will be the e-ticket number. This will be the ticket number that will appear on the itinerary. So make sure it's the correct one for the traveler to have so that they can check in and print their boarding pass. Next is the airline and flight number, departing time, arriving time, and class of travel. And you'll notice here a little icon over to the side here, a little clock. This allows you to track any flight that you've entered into Poco. So if I click on this, it brings up my web browser, and Google will show me all of the tracking information, including terminal and gate information if it's available. And another icon to note is this little paste button right here. If your return flight happens to share the same ticket number as the original flight, you can just go ahead and click on this button right here, and Poco will copy the ticket number out of the first ticket number field and paste it into the second for you. I also want to take a moment to introduce you to another new feature in Poco 5, which is the ability to copy and paste flights between records. You always have the ability to duplicate a record, that is, copy the entire record into a new record, but oftentimes that can create confusion because a lot of other information is carried over, for instance, the TA number and the name. So if you want to just copy the flight information, which is all the information that would be included in the subtabs, all you need to do is click on the copy button, and then I'm going to create a new flight, and then hit the paste button. And notice that all of the flight information has been copied over, including ground transportation and rates. It doesn't fill in the flight date, the ticket number, or the class of travel because those are the three things that are probably going to be different for that new person. But everything else makes its way over. It's a real big time saver. And of course, if I had multiple people that I need to do this for, I could just create another flight and hit paste again, and another flight and hit paste again. The ground transportation subtab is where you're going to put all of the information for your ground transportation for that particular traveler. And that's not rental cars, that's more like town cars or PA pickups or driver pickups. We'll cover rental cars actually in the next video. There are 4 sections here. There is one for going to the airport on the initial flight, then picking up from that airport, and then the same thing for the return flight in reverse. As an example, let's take a look at the from airport pickup here. If you're just selecting a PA pickup or a taxi or a shuttle or anything else, note that these fields right here don't light up. If all you need to say is, in this example, taxi, there's no other information that's needed here. You can just put instructions to the traveler that they're going to be picked up at a certain time. However, if you switch this over to town car, note that all the rest of these fields have now lit up because there is other information that we should probably include here. The vendor pull down is going to give you a list of town car vendors that have already been entered into the vendors tab. And if you select one of those, let's say we're going to select BLS, it automatically puts in the driver dispatch number, which has already been typed into the vendor tab previously. We can then go ahead and just enter in a confirmation number and a rate if we have one. But let's say we're going to use a town car vendor that doesn't currently exist in the vendors list. Well, there's an easy way to do that as well. You click on the plus icon here next to the vendors field. And what Poco does is it takes us directly to the vendors tab. It creates a new record and already sets the category for this record as town car service. Now if we just go ahead and enter in a town car service and return back to the flights tab, you can now see that Joe's Town Cars is one of the items that's in that list. And we can go ahead and select it. The last of the subtabs is the rates subtab. And as you might guess, this is where you're going to enter in all the rates for your flight, including the flight and the return rate, the agency fee if you have one, the baggage fees for both the flight and the return, any change fees that you might have. But note that the ground transportation fee is actually a read-only field, and that's because you've already entered in the ground transportation numbers over here in the ground transportation tab. And of course, Poco does all the math for you and creates a grand total number here at the bottom. And that's about it for the subtabs in the Flights tab of Poco 5. Be sure to hit us up on both our Facebook and our Twitter feeds. We would love to hear what you think of the product. Thanks again, and we really hope that you enjoy using Poco 5.